What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to another week. I'm hyped. Long weekend. Mind's refreshed. Stocks are ready to rip or fumble, whatever they're doing. I don't think anybody knows at this point. All we could really do is stick to our analysis in that sense and just follow each candle like it's our last. Um, I want to go over the SPY again. I always like to do this first, but this week is really important. And the last even, it feels like a month already now, where we've strictly been focusing on the SPY, due in fact that um, large caps have been all over the place. We haven't had any really comfortable surroundings to swing stocks um, due to intense gaps and intense volatility. Um, it's not necessarily a trending market. When you're gapping up almost 1% or, 0.8%, once, twice, three times, even four times a week, it shakes you out of those positions and it just eats away at your account if you don't have the right size management or risk management. But even then, if you're trading options and you hold a position overnight and you're gapping down or gapping up 1% in the other direction of your option, it's going to be, catastrophic. Um, at that point, it almost becomes gambling, and we're not here to gamble. We're here to make money. We're here to analyze the market, make key snipes on the market, and really protect our capital and search for opportunities that we find high reward setups. Um, and before we get into the setups this week, I wanted to very hone in or deeply hone in on the fact that our risk is going to be multiplied as long as there is political bullshit going on. Now, everything with that China war, the trade war, hasn't been resolved. It's actually only gotten worse. So this is putting a ton of pressure on the market and a ton of large cap stocks. There are a lot of companies out there that are heavily affected by this, and we need to protect ourselves because the technicals kind of get thrown out the window when fundamentals are in play. Now, with tariffs, it's also going to affect our economic numbers, which is going to be very important to watch for in the future numbers releases. Even today, a notification came out that Apple was going to lose 50% of its iPhone sales in China. Now, Apple doesn't do much in China anyway, but this is still a drastic hit. And, right now on our weekly chart, we are below our 13 EMA. We held our middle Bollinger Band, and we're sort of pulling back on our MACD into neutral territory. So this could go one or two ways. This could be a healthy market pullback, start to see some consolidation around the mid Bollinger Band line. We do have some support levels in here. We were holding support on Friday. But overall, this could go one of two ways. Like I said, we could bounce and start to, consolidate and head higher, or we can roll over and, completely test these lows and then these lows. It's totally possible. Obviously not in a 2-day span, but over the longer time frame, it's totally there. Um, I'm gonna drop down into the weekly chart. I mean the daily chart, and as you can see, we sort of had a temporary bottom with Thursday's session here, holding this low. It didn't really get down to it, but it's holding it. So what I'm going to be looking at in this session very closely is this 282.46 support, which is going to be our first downside destination, our upside resistance at 284.19, and then this level here at 285.68. Now I'll tell you one thing: we are gapping up above, where we closed on Friday. We have support down here at 282.46. Like I said, if we are opening in this range, we are gonna trade sideways, most likely. Now, if we are going to be trading sideways, that's going to require us to sit on our hands for a little bit. We have a destination up here, which as you can see was traded perfectly on Friday. Friday was a great technical day. 284.19. The high of Friday is going to be a destination on the upside, and then our next one on the downside is 282.46. So right now we're trading at 283.37, and that's right in the middle. So I'm most likely going to be patient today to see how we react to the upside move for a possible rejection up here, and then a follow through to the downside, maybe about to that 282.46 or to the middle range of Friday's session at 283.43 around there. Still enough room to really capture a nice trade, especially with options. That's our downside play. So if this 282.46 breaks, we actually don't have room until 281.27 and then the lows from Thursday. So there is room. The SPY is going to be a great vehicle to be trading this week, in my opinion, as it has been the previous few. I think it's going to be very important to focus strictly on the SPY. If you like trading other setups and keeping yourself diversified, then I do have two other setups waiting for us in here. Both on large cap stocks. Actually, I don't have any small caps on the watch list this week, as I do feel like prioritizing on these large caps is going to protect our accounts, so to speak. So we have our downside covered, looking for this. Now on the upside, if this high does break, and maybe we pull back, test these lows, and the lows hold with oversold conditions on the intraday level, we can look for a bounce play in one of two directions. We could look for a bounce play down here, or we could look for a breakout above 284.19. Now, if we go to the daily chart, if that 284.19 breaks, we have quite the bit of upside to 285.68 from key daily resistance and support. Also, keep in mind, our 13 EMA is right at that 285.68. Now, what I'm thinking when I saw that is, with the gap up today, are the Bulls going to try and run away with this and maybe get like one last desperation push, test that EMA, and maybe hold the downtrend? That's certainly possible. If we do get that upside move and clear 284.19, we have a gap. I'm not sure what kind of energy they'll have at that point, as it's quite, it's going to require quite a lot of energy. But if that is the case, 284.19 breaks, we can look for a breakout up until this level at 285.68, right where our 13 EMA is. Now, I believe on the weekly chart, our 13 EMA is around that 284.38. So it's around that upside level. Now, we can look for rejection in that area and try and trade off of it this whole week. These next few days are going to be interesting. It is a short week, but our the daily MACD is kind of just like doing its thing. It's gonna try and reverse. They tried to do something with it here. That downtrend just held and really didn't do much with it on the upside. But today with that gap up, I want to focus in on that level very closely. Like I said, I'm gonna be fairly patient until we see one of these two levels penetrated or tested. Now, I have a setup here on Facebook. This is actually an interesting setup. Again, on the weekly chart, pretty overextended. I'm not too sure. I don't think Facebook's directly impacted that heavily by tariffs. But it has pulled back with some of the news. And as you can see, I have our supports laid out here for us. Now, this is off the weekly chart. 1, 2, 3. Then we have a little bit here. But this level here at 180 is a very key support. Now, what I'm looking at here is we have our 13 EMA to support it on the weekly chart, but I'm more or less focusing on the daily. As you can see, from that 180, we have quite the resistance, and then support back here. But even as we further into this little tight range, 180 was heavily affected. So now what I'm looking at is we've held so far on all of the tests of this level. Our daily MACD is a bit oversold. It has room to, curl up and do its thing, maybe break this 13 EMA or at least test the 13 EMA. So similar setup with the SPY, and what we're seeing is if that 282.46 and those lows from Friday hold on the SPY, it's very possible that Facebook is a solid long setup to up to that, up to that 284.19 or up to that 285.68 level. So there is room on Facebook at from 180 to about 184, which is the 13 EMA. Should be interesting. I want to see in today's session, or even more or less in a 30-minute, like I kind of would feel comfortable taking a long right out of the gate if we come back and hold this level. Now, we've held on Thursday, we held today pre-market. I'm not sure the volume is anything significant pre-market. No, it's not. But if we hold, excuse me, if we hold Friday's low, it's going to be definitely an interesting setup to be watching on Facebook. These are the two setups I really want to focus on this week. This video did run a little bit long, but I had a lot of talking to do when it came to the SPY and the overall market. I wanted to get you guys set up here on Facebook, just in case those of you who like to stay diversified in your trading and don't necessarily want to trade just the SPY, and you like to open up yourself a little bit more opportunity. Me personally, I think focusing on one or two setups is very key to success in the markets. It keeps your mind fresh. But these two setups are definitely ones to be focusing on. On the short side, we have the SPY. On the long side, we have the SPY and Facebook. So we're diversified in both of our approaches. And with that, I'm going to end this video. I'll talk to you guys in chat. It's going to be a good week. Remember, stay focused on the bigger picture and stay organized. Let's get this money.